Number 3 is if you're probably having like, I'm not as experienced as other coaches. So what can you do? Well, let's assume you are at the very first level of esports coaching. An amateur league, maybe, you've been coaching a couple of months or maybe a year, but this is the same as if you're further ahead, right? Because even though you have 10 years of experience, there is always another coach that has more experience at a higher level than you or has done greater things probably than you, right? So what can you do? Well, let's assume you are at the very first level of esports coaching. An amateur league, maybe, you've been coaching a couple of months or maybe a year, but this is the same as if you're further ahead, right? Because even though you have 10 years of experience, there is always another coach that has more experience at a higher level than you or has done greater things probably than you, right? So it doesn't matter where you are, you can compare this to. So the first is, no matter what your experience is, and yes, you have good things that you can contribute, but you can always bring in your energy, your presence. If you show that you care for your players, they feel and know that you care and that you take coaching seriously, right? So it's not only like showing up and talking about the gameplay and doing some analysis, being very low energy and presence, right? And it's all about the game knowledge. No, you can talk energetic. You can be a leadership and presence. So when you walk into the room or jump into the call, you can make contact with everyone, showing that you care. Not like overcrowding or like being the biggest voice in the room, but being present. That is such an important skill already as an esports coach. And without all of these things that you can learn eventually, right? But in the moment, you can decide today, how do I show up? What kind of energy do I bring? What kind of presence? What kind of behavior do I want to showcase for my players every day in and out while I'm still working on those other things? Also, it is your ability to connect. So many esports coaches, they just do their scrims and be in contact with their team, right? Because time is of the essence and there's not much time, etc, etc. But have you thought about this, that you can simply reach out in DM to set up a call or just like, hey, just checking in how you're doing, to constantly, like not as a stalker type of way, but constantly check in and make the connection with individual players among your team. You can do so pretty much easy. All it takes is just a little bit of time actually, but you can do this, right? So the ability to connect is not only like, okay, did you do your homework? Let's do a VOD review and only about the gameplay. No, what is like, the starter cookie cutter questions like, okay, what are you doing outside of gaming or esports that you like? Do you go to the gym? What kind of movies do you watch? What kind of genre? What kind of other games do you play? Why do you play those games? Who are you in terms of like personality? What motivates you? What gets you going? What is your favorite food? Like, what is your background? What does the culture have to do with the way you are currently? You can have so many different and more shallow towards so many deeper conversations. And then you might be thinking like, okay, Donnie, but why do I want to invest in all of this? Right? Well, the thing is, the more you know your players, the better you can coach them. And sometimes, you all know about like the mental aspects, the psychology and, having trust and respect for your coach and the environment. The more you know your players and the more they get to know you, the more trust and respect there usually comes from. So it's a very, very important investment that you can make. So instead of being interested in players, basically for the benefit of like the game or the esports or the results, be truly invested and focus on the ability to connect. Be human, be yourself, and that is usually enough.